Hello, welcome back. So in the part 2 of this flange jig, we are going to be making the drawings. So we're just going to start a new part file, drawings, and I'm just going to show you how to make the drawings for, I think that the ones you need to know is this part and the first and the second one and the assembly. But this color and the washer, they are pretty easy, but I'll still show you how to set it up. So drawings, okay. And once we have our drawing, so all we need to do is it brings you to this option, and you can also get it is on the same tab. So you have this 3 standard, meaning if you browse to your file location, and let me just browse there, and I'm going to select the flange, for example, not that, the, where is it? I'm going to just minimize this so I see what I'm doing. What is that part called? Well, there's something I can do. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this part and the flange, and I'm just going to click OK. Once I click OK, you see it brings in the 3 views for me, which is good. That's a good way to start if that's what you want. And sometimes you might not need all 3 views, you might just need 2 views or 1. So that's how you use that one, and I'm just going to delete all these views, and so I always use this model view, so it lets you actually add the view yourself. So I'll bring in that flange, and you can select the view you want to add first. So for this one, I'm going to add the top view. Select the top view over here, add my top view first. Then if I need any other view, I can use this project view, and I'll project that view down and project this view to the side. So it's just like the 3 main view, but like I said, in some cases you might not need all the views. So there is no right or wrong way to do it. It's pretty much whatever you prefer. So now my settings, I didn't set up my template, so it's still on SolidWorks default. So I'm just going to hide this. If yours is showing this blue origin point that is from the part, you can hide it here. So the visibility, control the visibility of the origin point, you can hide it. So now you have your 3 main view, and you can bring in this flange thing again. Click on the model view, your flange, double click it, and now click on this isometric, and you can just put that to the side. That is always important, because sometimes when I'm designing something and I'm not really sure what this view looks like, it's good to see what it looks like in an isometric view, so that way you know how to design it. So once you have your views, what I always like, the next thing I always do is add my center point to anywhere that I need it. So for example here, so what I did is, under the annotations tab, center mark, this is Centerline for if you have like a long bar. Center mark is for if you have like a diameter or radius. So center mark applies, you can click any of this. So I'll click this top radius, and it has that center mark for me. So that's the only thing I need to do on this drawing. So the next thing is just to add my dimensions. So I'm just going to click OK on that. And I'm used to using the click, because if you right click, let me show you something. So if you right click and hold it, you see what I'm doing? I'm right clicking and holding it. It gives me the dimension to the top, draw a line to the left, a circle to the right, and a view, pretty much the model view to the bottom. So I'm used to using that because I feel like it helps you work faster. So I'm just going to right click to select my dimension, and I'm just going to start adding it. So from here to here. Okay, so since the design we made is in millimeter, so I need to go into my document properties and units, metric, and change it to metric. And you can also change how many decimal places and so on, the degrees and so on. Click OK. So now that dimension has been changed to 32, which is what we want. And the next thing we can add is this flange dimension. From here to here is 3, and you can drag it out and you can leave it in there. I always like dragging it out since it's so close. So the next thing we can add is our radius over here, and I can just drag this up. And if you hover over this arrow, it gives you this like little arrow thing, and when you click it, it brings that arrow to the outside. And I always like dimension this way. And I'm just showing you how to set up the dimension. So you still have to clean your drawing up, set it the way your professor wants you to set it up and all that. So I'm just showing you the dimensions to add. So we're going to add another dimension up here, 32. Another dimension right here, which is 16, and another dimension down here, which is 6, and another dimension which is 3. So from the center point to there, which is 3. So I believe that's all the dimension we need for this drawing, this view, because if I bring up this drawing, and as you can see, there aren't that too many dimensions, and I believe we have all the dimensions. So we have that. So all you need to do now is, once you're done adding your dimension, you can right click and select edit sheet format, and it brings you to the table where you can add all your information. And once you are done adding your information, you can exit out over here. Another way you can get to the edit sheet format is on the sheet format, on the sheet format tab, and you see the edit sheet format there, and it gives you the same thing. So if you hover over, again, my template is not set up, it's the SolidWorks default, so some stuff might be out of whack. So like if I hover over this drawing where you add your name, and you see that A showing up, and if you double click there, you'll see the box that is in there for me to add my name. It's not aligned properly, so I'm just going to drag it up for now, and I'm just going to double click it, and it gives you this like kind of like something to type. So I just type my initials and the date. You can do the same thing, it's not in the right place. I'm just going to type today's date, which is 10/26/17, and again in the titles block over here there should be something there. If not, or what you can do is you can actually go to like the annotations, notes, and you can put that in there and type it. But normally most companies will have like a template that is set up. Oh, I think it's there, I just gotta find it. So anyway, this is in this box, you type in your title and all that, and over here you type in your companies. Like I said, this template is not set up. This one, all I need to do is import in the drawing what we save the drawing as, and I can just decrease that font, change it to something like 16. 16 is too much. I'll change it to 14, and the rev and all that stuff. So once you're done adding all the information you want to add, then you edit, you exit your edit sheet format, and that is that drawing. And the next thing we need to do is go into the next one, another drawing. I'm going to change the units to millimeter. Okay, I'm going to browse to the file location, and I want to bring in this rod, this handle, and I'm just going to place this view over here. For this handle, I feel like since it's just an handle, we just need this one view. You can leave this node over here, the one that comes with it, or you can delete it and add your own node. Again, I'm going to hide that origin point. The next thing you can do is change your center line. I mean, not change it, add a center line. You see, like in this case that I have a long bar, I just click the center line, not the center mark. So once you have that, and another thing you can do is if you click on this view, it gives you all the properties for the drawings where you can change it You can change how it actually looks, but for drafting standard, I feel like most in the company that I worked at previously, we used this type of view. And what else? So you can also change your what is it? It's the sheet scale. You can change it over here. The scale of your drawing, you can change it over here. But if you want a custom one, you can also change it over here. But usually, for what I always do is I always leave it on use sheet scale. And if I need to change it, you right click and click on this drop down properties, and you can change the scale here. So if I change the scale to 1:1, and that drawing changed, so that way you don't necessarily have to change it in here. So I think for this one, I'm going to change it to properties. I'm going to change this to 3/4. I think that's a reasonable size. Good. And you can go back to the model view again, add another one, and this time just make it an isometric and just put it somewhere up here. And I'll bring this down. So what I can do is now is just start adding my dimension. From back here to here is 244. From back here to this point up here should be 46. Good. What else? From here to here 64. Good. From here to the length of the thread is 35. Good. The diameter of, because we have this detail over here, you won't be able to actually dimension it right. You can click the point, you can click that point if it allows me to click it, that point, this point, and this point, and it gives me the 20. But the thing is, it's not dimensioning the 20 as a diameter, and you can also add the diameter here. It's the same thing. Or you can delete that and just dimension it on this end, and you should see this should give me the 20 diameter automatically. So that's letting you know that that is a round part, and you always want to make sure if it's a round part that you put the diameter in it. And I can center it and just move it over there somewhere, and we have that. I think we have all the information we need. And to add your notes for the chamfer, so you just click on the notes and click back here and just bring it somewhere out, and then just type your note in cham. I'm going to do that in all cap, cham 2x2. Click once and you can add it to this back side too, and just add it up there, and I can just move it in and move to your drawing. So that is how you pretty much add a note, and you can add a note for this detail we have there too. Once you're done, the same thing, edit sheet format, right click, edit sheet format should be somewhere in here. Let me right click, edit sheet format, or you can find it on the sheet format and enter all your drawing. So moving on to the next, follow the same step to make the washer and the collar. It's pretty much the same step. So let me just show you real quick. So if you want to make the one for the, let's do the collar because that one has detail on it. I'm just going to do the let me try the, where's the top view? I always mess this thing up. There you go. So you can do that view and project it, and I have this view and I can project this view over here, something like that. Or you can show this view first and project it this way. So all you need to do is just add your dimension from this line, from your dimension from this line, or you can click this point. Again, it's because we have that detail on it, that's why it's giving us that. Oh, and I have to change my units. So that's 10, and just move it somewhere down here. You can add your diameter to this, and for this outside, it's going to give you a radius dimension, because of, again, the detail. So a way you can actually do that is you can just dimension it on this end. So you add from this edge to that top edge, so it should give me the right. Again, I'm not selecting it right, so that's the problem with adding details. Sometimes it just doesn't give you, but anyway, that's what you need to do. You just need to, you probably have to zoom in. Maybe I'll select this top line and I will dimension it to that bottom line somewhere over here. That click over here, so I have the 44, but again, it's sticking in. You don't want that to, so you just have to like play with it. Move that to that point over there, and this I'm going to so you just have to play with it to get it right, and once you have your 44, this should be 44, then you just add your diameter to it. But I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it should be 44. And if you pick the right point, or if you pick the right point, which is somewhere in there, it should give you that. It should give you that 44, and that's the only dimensions you need for this. Again, you can add your isometric view, and just put it somewhere in that corner, and bring this down, edit sheet format, and edit everything. So the last thing I'm going to show you is the last drawing is the assembly. So new drawing, you browse and select the assembly and click OK. And so the good thing is, remember we made the exploded view. So now when you want to add your assembly, you can add it either in the exploded view or the normal view. So for now, let me go into that assembly file, because I think I saved it in the exploded view. So I'm just going to add it again, browse to the file location, and I'm just going to add the view over here. As you can see, it's adding it in the exploded view, which is okay. I'm going to hide that origin. Again, maybe what I would do is increase the sheet size on this drop down properties. I can change that to half, 1 to 2. Okay, that's big enough. So if I want this in the original state, all I have to do is right click on it and show in unexploded state, and it brings everything back together. And all you can do now is just add your dimension. Your kind of like, for the assembly, you just need to add the basic length and overall dimension. So change my units to metric, and so that's 180. We can do from here to here. It's 244. We can do from top here to the bottom, 64. And if you have all this dimension going like this, right? If you have a dimension over here, if you click it and click this, it should center it for you. I always like centering all my dimensions. So again, you still have to clean up the drawing. So you have your overall dimension. You can bring another view in model, bring this in the isometric view, and put it somewhere over here. Change this to, it's using a custom scale. You can change it to the sheet scale, so it's the same size as this one, and you just have to play around with it and move it. And the next thing you can do is add your bill of material. So you can do auto bill of material. Is like when you select it and select a component, it adds it for you on everything, or you can just add it one by one by clicking the drawings. I always like adding it one by one. So that's what I'm going to do. and I have all my bill of material. The only mistake I made when I was making my assembly, and you might have to make your assembly again, is I don't know if your professor minds, is if you can see this part is 1, this is number 1, and this is number 2, but because I put this part in the assembly first, now SolidWorks is recognizing that as part 1, and because I didn't put this part in until the 4th try, and it's making it number 4. So if your professor don't mind the order of the way you assembled it, then fine, you can leave it. But if your professor mind, you have to change it. And once you have your bill of material, again over here you edit sheet format, add all the necessary information. And the last thing you need to do for this drawing is under this table, click this arrow down, bill of material, and it's asking you to select the drawing view to specify the model. You can select either this one or this one, it doesn't matter. So you select this one, it gives you all this option, and I just always leave it at this default and click OK. So it gives you the table. You can put the table somewhere in that corner, just dock it there, and you can drag this down somewhere over here and adjust this, and you can also adjust this somewhere out there. And for the description, you just have to enter the description, and this works just like Excel. So if you need to add more stuff, you can right click over here, insert column to the right, and it tells you which type of property you want. You select the type of property you want, and you find the other option over here, and that is it. And that's how you add more column to it. I'm just going to delete that. So delete column. So for the assembly, this is pretty much you need what typical thing people put on their assembly: the bill of material, the numbers pointing out the part, and you can add all the details in it. So if I click in here, I can start type keep link, and I can just start typing in there. So that's how that works. And anyway, thank you. I know I spent too much time on this, but I just trying to remember all the stuff I need to cover so you can make the drawings for that assembly. Thank you, and if you have any question, leave a comment or you can email me. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.